Welcome to Chatting Shit with Ostique, the podcast series where we chat about shit with inspirational people from all walks of life. Today, we are joined by the wonderful and inspiring Francesca. We hope that you enjoyed this conversation. Francesca, welcome to Chatting Shit with Ostique.
Thank you so much, Tony. I'm really looking forward to being here in our chat today, so thank you for having me.
Our absolute pleasure. Why don't you start by introducing yourself and maybe telling us a little bit about how you came to have your stoma?
Yeah, so as I say, I'm at the moment, I've set up my own company. I am the managing director, sounds very posh, or the CEO, if you like, of Dance Through the Ages Limited. So I literally do dance through the ages. I teach from kids all the way up to, I have a lady in my Zumba Gold group who's got, she's 91 and she's absolutely amazing. And it's just bringing that joy and empowerment to different groups. I am an HR professional by trade, but yeah, this is my joy, this is my passion, this is what gives me my raison d'être, if you like. The reason I came to have a stoma, so I've been not very well, unfortunately, the majority of my life. I had chronic irritable bowel syndrome when I was in my teens. I remember being in my A levels and literally crippled over the computer and like that. Can't write. But my granny always used to call it Billy Wind. So she used to be hanging on to furniture. So I think it was hereditary, but obviously then nobody really knew. There wasn't the research that there is now. And, she just got on with it. And I think I've kind of been lucky enough to inherit all of that. The shit bowels, which is fine. Because once you know how to manage it, and obviously the research now, and I've been going for tests since I was, pretty much sort of 15, 16. Nobody could really find out what's going wrong. I was being sick all the time. So certain foods didn't agree with me. And then when I was in my 20s, I actually had a rectal prolapse. So everything literally went south. And I was like, ooh. And, you'd be walking along and having, ooh. I was like, oh, need to push it back up. Ooh. So it got to the point where and then when they did the operation, they found out I'm super stretchy. So I'm actually hypermobile as well. So they gave that first operation 5 years because they basically in layman's terms, nailed my rectum back up to my backbone. So it went, whoop. It lasted 5 months. I was like, oh, we're right back here again. So carried on, quality of life was absolutely rubbish. Going to work was a real challenge because I had to get a change of clothes. I mean, my fellow ostomates will completely understand this. And it was just not very nice. And my life revolved around a toilet. And so I then had everything then really went south, and I had to have a ventral mesh put in because my bladder was also going south, as was my womb. It was all going, so that wasn't very nice. It was gross. And trying to manage that every day, you lose confidence in yourself, you lose self-esteem, you don't really want to go out much, but you push yourself, and every day is a challenge, right? So you just have to get up and get on with it. Work at the time, I didn't feel confident enough to have the conversation, so ignored it, like we all do sometimes. And, it was a real challenge. And then I thought, you know what, it's time to start putting that I actually probably have a disability on applications. But at that time, I hadn't had my stoma surgery. So I actually met my husband. He was amazing. His brother has ulcerative colitis, so he's been around this kind of thing. And it got to a point where in our relationship, we weren't married yet, but there was almost like a third leg, and it was the toilet. And I was spending more time sometimes in the toilet than I was with him. So we got married and he was amazing. And I then had to have bladder surgery because literally my bladder had gone south as well. So I had to have a stent put in my bladder. And we elected to have stoma surgery. And it was the biggest decision we've ever made. But I'm ever so fortunate in the fact that I have my husband. I have an amazing family. And I know not everybody's privileged enough to have that. But I felt confident enough to say, do you know what? I'm actually fed up with this shit. The breaking straw was this, and you'll probably ask me about this later, but I was in London at the time. And obviously London, there's no toilets on the tube. You're literally like, oh God, I'm at Temple. Shit, where's the next toilet? Oh, I've got to get to Green Park. Wherever you're going, there is nothing. So you need to go. And it was literally, oh God, when I didn't have my stoma. And I was like, I was covered in shit half the time. Like literally walking through London, covered in shit, panicked that smell. And I was actually going to the theatre to meet a friend. And I'd been at work and I was an HR professional. As I say, I'd been in a really heavy disciplinary nightmare, and I was running because I was late, and I was in a dress, and I was going to the theatre with my friend, and I was like, I don't actually know what to do. I've got shit in my shoes, I've got shit all over down my legs, and I ran to the restaurant. Funnily enough, they knew me very well, but I was panicking that I was literally dropping. I was like, oh, I'm a food, health and safety hazard, oh my God. Barreled into the toilet, phoned my friend and said, I borrowed, like literally, I just had an accident, awful, crying my eyes out, and then she was like, don't see, get your shit together. Like literally. And the owner of the Japanese restaurant literally knocked on the door and said, are you okay? Can we get you anything? I was like, a clean pair of clothes. She came out with a pair of chef's trousers, and I was like, right, well, I'm literally going to the theatre in that. Cleaned myself up, everything in a bag, bang, bang, right, fine. And my friend was like, do you want to go home? I was like, no, we're here to have dinner. We're here to go to the theatre. I mean, guaranteed I look fabulous, don't I? And she was like, what are you? I was like, yeah, I'm serious. Well, do I smell? She was like, no, I will tell you if you smell. I was like, right, we'll crack on then. And we did, and that was it. And I said to Steve, never again, my husband, that I can't do that. It's just, right, that was the decision. So we went I was due to have a follow-up with the surgeon anyway. And we were in the system. We'd been in the system for a while because I had to have another operation because everything was just not working. And we just said, right, time to bite the bullet and get the bag. And do you know what? It's the best decision I've ever made. So there you go.
Amazing. And I mean, you're very brave because that's, people, if they pass wind in public, they,
when you
get embarrassed.
You turn around and go, excuse you.
Yeah.
In our stomach, so you can literally blame it on the person in front of you.
Very true.
Out like stomas, by the way.
Did before you actually elected to have the surgery, had that been kind of put out there as an option for you, or was that something that you had to push for?
I had to put forward. Yeah. So I had to push for it.
And how did they respond to that? Were they amenable to it, or they're like, no?
Because I've been in the system so long, and the word interesting is when they don't have a freaking clue. And I'd had interesting for like nearly 15 years. And I was like, no, I'm not interesting because you don't know what's happening to me. And this is my life. I'm taking control. And I'm basically the customer. I'm the client. I'm asking you to do this. It's my body. Do it. And once we'd been through the conversation, and you don't see the same person sometimes, do you? So you've got to repeat the whole thing again. And, that's traumatic in itself because you don't relive it, but it's like, oh yeah, and that happened. And oh yeah, I remember when that happened, and it's a catalogue of disasters and you're like, yeah. And yeah, one of the other final straws was when I was actually in a disciplinary and it was fairly senior and I was leading it and I hadn't got my stoma and I ruined the chair. I couldn't move. We were fortunate at the end and it went and everything. I was like, oh, God, what do I do? And I said, right, well, I think it's time to adjourn. We've wrapped up. We'll get the notes to you. Thank you very much, everyone. Chaired the meeting, closed it off. And they wanted to stay. I was like, no, we'll chat later. It's absolutely fine. I've got quite a bit and I've got a follow-up meeting. So we'll catch up maybe tomorrow or something and we'll do a debrief. I said, give an hour and I'll come and see you. And I literally I got facilities number and I had to phone them. And I said, I can't move. I've ruined this chair, but I've got a PIP. I'd got all my clean clothes. I'd got them in the office. So I'd got a special kind of, area. I said, I need my bag. I need my clothes. And you need to get rid of this chair. And they were like, those chairs are £250. I was like, I don't care. And you ain't taking it out of my wage, but get me my clothes and we'll sort it out. And that was it for me. I was like, I'm done. I can't be a professional. I can't deliver my job. I can't confidently sit here and fire someone. And then the cupboard, it's just like, no. So,
how did your colleagues and things respond in those situations?
There was only a select few that knew. And so I'd chosen the colleagues that I trusted enough in the circle to we had a code word. And when I said it, they knew to go and either adjourn the meeting, get my supplies, whatever it was. We had a thing. And they were really supportive. Yeah. But the rest of them, they wouldn't have. People who were using the disabled toilets work, and I once had a real go at somebody. I was like, you actually aren't disabled. Because I was in HR. I knew who was and who wasn't. She was like, yeah, but I just needed to have a shit. And I was like, that's not appropriate. There are people in this building who actually are and need that toilet. And that's not acceptable. And I said, you do
Just
it
touching.
and I said, if you do it again and I catch you, I will get you reported and you will be in a disciplinary with me.
Speaking of toilets and sort of, I know, jumping ahead,
Yeah.
that's something that we had kind of touched on, and I would say something pretty topical. You know, Colostrum UK are doing a lot of work around toilets. I know that other kind of influencers and people in the space are experiencing backlash, and that's something that, you know, we Ostique have heard time and time again, and I know that you yourself have had that.
Yeah. And recently, you know, obviously Big Stoma and me has had terrible, terrible feedback and just awful experiences, like life-changing, heartbreaking experiences. But I was in the King's Cross. So, you know, you walk down at King's Cross and you've got that massive line. And sometimes if the trains just come in and everyone's like, ugh. And sometimes the radar key, there's no radar key at the King's Cross, which I've actually requested to be addressed, because if you have a radar key, you should be able to get in anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I barreled into the disabled toilets because he'd exploded. He's called Boris, by the way. So he's called Boris because he's clearly full of hot air. Named before he was Prime Minister, I like to say. But yeah, so he literally had him there. I was like, ugh, God. So fortunately, I had to change. Fine. Changed him, lovely, cleaned up, no fine problem. And I came out of the toilet and the line had curled around. And this woman just stood out of the queue and went, well, you're clearly not disabled, are you? I was like, excuse me? I said, can you read? And she was like, yes. I was like, well, what does it say on the door? Not all disabilities are visible. She was like, well, all right, then where's yours? And I was like, right here. Pulled my top up, showed her Boris, and she was like, whew. And the people in the queue, honestly, well, we're British, aren't we? So it was like, oh. And I was like, so maybe you'll think twice about actually embarrassing someone again. Keep your opinions to yourself. Have a nice day, and walked off.
It's true.
It's absolute rubbish. And it shouldn't take for me to do that. You know, and if you're not as confident, I'm very fortunate because I actually have get to the stage, I don't have shit. But I've been, and especially if you're at the start of your journey, you're not confident enough to challenge. You've only just got a new bumhole, for God's sake. You're trying to figure out how it works. And you're not confident enough to challenge, and you're self-conscious enough as it is. You know, we all know, if we've got one, the disasters, the pitfalls, everything that goes with it. And for somebody to challenge you like that, it's not appropriate.
No, it's not. And as you say, not everybody is as confident to turn around to be like, look at this. And I think we are often, society is very quick to judge. And then considering that you were doing disciplinaries in HR, then you elected to have the surgery, which, taking kind of reading between the lines, has been like a real game changer for you.
Totally.
How come you decided not to continue in that role, and the change? Like, what caused that change to then become the CEO today?
That's a really great question. So as I say, I was in London with my husband, and I was in quite a stressful HR job. I'd moved roles, and I was looking after a load of international assignees. So it was when the pandemic hit. So I was actually responsible for all of our population abroad with my boss, and it was a very stressful job at the best of times. When you've got people phoning you at 11 o'clock at night saying, get me on a flight home, and they're not actually eligible, you're like, You know, it was a case of, I've got a life to live. I've got enough to deal with. You know, I want to actually start bringing joy and to people. And I'd always loved Zumba as a participant. And I'd been we were living in Greenwich at the time in London, and I was just around the corner was our gym. And my Zumba mum, as I now call her, she encouraged me to go and do my basic one training, my Zumba training. Never wanted to be at the front, like literally. I was the one by the pillar around the corner. You know, I've not been at the front. Anyway, I did it. I qualified in the May of 2019, and my stoma surgery was in the June. So I was then out for 8 months trying to recover. And I'd got match fit beforehand, so I'd made sure that my body was going to cope with the surgery. I'd strengthened my core. I'd done all the, everything that I needed to do to give myself the best chance of a good recovery. And I came out of the surgery. Everything was fine. Had a bit of a journey to get there. Had 2 surgeries because the first one didn't work. I didn't have an opening, so that was fun. Let's not go there. But I'm alive. I'm still here. It's all good. there was a chance I might not have been, but I am.
Oh
And
gosh.
yeah, so that was interesting because I literally was in hospital and there's nothing coming out, and they make you eat, don't they? But I was poisoning myself from the inside because I didn't have an opening.
What do you mean?
So when they did the stoma formation, they hadn't given me an out. It had gone back in. So everything that I was eating, it looked like a stoma, but I had no out. So
How is that possible?
oh, very easily, because bowels twist. And they only know from, and you can't tell when apparently, because I asked the question, obviously, and the surgeon was amazing, absolutely amazing. And being in HR, I know process and what they did afterwards, because I wasn't going to the bathroom and I wasn't passing, and my stomach was just getting more and more distended, and I was looking less and less well. They'd done all the tests. They put an NG tube in. They'd pumped my stomach. They'd irrigated. They'd actually put. They'd tried to drain the stoma, so they'd done that. They'd done every single process that they had to, because they don't want to take you back in for surgery. It's the last thing they want to do, because sometimes it is just a bit of a block, or it's a bit of trapped wind, or so they've got a process to go through, which is absolutely fine, and I completely understand that. And it had got to the stage where nothing was happening, and we were 5 days in, and my blood pressure was like. Whoosh, and I felt less and less well. And I remember them taking me down for a scan. It was stupid o'clock at night. My stomach, I looked like I was pregnant. And it was just air, just filled up and grossness. And that scan then forced the surgery. So they came back in the next day and they said, we're going to have to take you down. Mum and Dad were there. And I remember being in the room and I was just sweating. It was so hot. And I couldn't formulate a sentence. I was like, I'm fine. I can hear you all panicking, but I'm actually okay. But I don't feel very well. Anyway, they took me down and I said to my surgeon, he was like, I think I know what this is. And he explained. And I was like, that's absolutely fine. I'll see you at the other end. He said, are you happy for me to do this? Because he'd done my second surgery. So I trust him with my life, quite literally. And he was in the first one, and that was fine. But it was a training hospital. And I had 5-hour surgery first time to replace it because my prolapse had come back. So before he could give me the stoma formation, he had to fix me. So he'd worked on me for 5 hours. He'd done his tag team. And then because it was a normal procedure, absolutely, stomas are so normal. It's not you don't need a specialist to do it. One of the team did it, which is absolutely fine. Everyone's got to learn, right? So totally normal. He was there. He was overseeing it. I have absolutely no qualms about anything that went on in that. I'm not. It's fine. These things happen. My bowel's very slippy. It's very twisty. I'm already stretchy. So, I could have coughed or burped or something, and he was waiting at my bed when I woke up. And I was like, oh, I feel better. And he's like, welcome back. Welcome back. Nice to see you. And then he found my husband, and that was fine. But then I had all Helen gone, because then there was the director of the hospital came down and went, do you want to take the surgeon out of action? I was like, what? I was like, excuse me, what? No, I don't. He's one of the top cancer surgeons in the UK. Why would I do that? This is a completely routine thing that happened. Your team have been absolutely amazing. They've done all the checks and balances and the due diligences. They're not going to rush me back into surgery 2 days after. And I tell you what, I'll tell you something. I never want to see you again. And he was like, right. And he's like, do you want to? I was like, no, I will wait for my surgeon on Monday and I'll speak to him. Kindly go away. I'm pretty sure I wasn't that polite. But I was on morphine, so I'm just going to blame it on the morphine. But I said, look, I'm in HR. Okay, so I understand process. No, I'm not about to sue him. No, I'm not going to end his career. Don't be ridiculous. He saved my life. Why would I do that? And I don't think they've ever had anybody as reasonable as me. But actually, I'm still here. I'm still here to tell the tale. And I'm really.
I guess they probably just thought it's scary and potentially it may or may not have been avoidable, and but
as
equally you're right
from it, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? But they did everything that they should have done to check, so I can't complain. I knew what was going on. I was like, we're going through these checks, are we? Okay. Oh, we're now here. I don't think that's a very good sign. But that's fine, and I can't take that away from the team. They were incredible, and like I say, they saved my life. So I technically had 2 surgeries. I got 2 Borises.
So then, to get back to kind of, so you had got your body match fit.
match fit, and I was still in my HR job. They were amazing because I'd had the surgery, and I'd worked from home for a bit. I didn't really need to be in the office, so it was fine. And when I could get into the office, I had a stick, and I got one of those "give me a seat" badges, so that was fine. And yeah, it was just and then COVID hit, and I was like, ugh. And then we weren't allowed in the office, so we were all working from home anyway. And I started to teach Zumba online at lunchtimes for people to just get together and just have just a bit of normal niceness, because they couldn't go to the gym and they couldn't go out, and they were just like, ugh. So to get morale up, that's what I did. I started online, and I absolutely loved it. And before I knew it, I was teaching sort of 5-6 days a week online, and my classes were packed. It was crazy. And
how did people hear about you?
Through work. It was just, oh, Francesca's doing this. Do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, all right. And because then obviously my Zumba teacher was doing them online, I covered for a couple of times online. And after that, it was just, I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is where I'm happy. And if I can do it, like balance HR and this, but then it started to be more of it's a calling. And I did other specialisms as well. So not just Zumba, but I did Zumba Gold, which is a program that's targeted at the more mature population, or for those that have maybe not done exercise for a long time, or have had surgery, or have had a baby and are coming back to exercise. So it's a low impact program designed for like those with mobility issues and maybe frailty in the bones, but still Zumba fun, still high energy. And that is the most rewarding program, because you basically see people just growing in confidence, and it's amazing. So I did that. I did my Zumba Kids training. I did my Zumbini training. So Zumba Kids is from, it's split. It covers ages 5 to 11, but it's split into 2 programs. And then I did Zumbini, which, oh my God, you get to play the babies and the caregivers, and it's so cute. That's from 0 to 4. So that's all about forming bonds and creating that really special connection with your child, or whoever it is. It might be it might be a grandparent, it might be a step surrogate.
What's it called?
Zumbini.
Zumbini.
It's a bit like Baby Beats. It's a bit like what we have in the UK, but it's an American version. Really amazing. And it's baby sensory, so we get to play with scars, we get to sing, we get to dance, and it's a bit of education as well. So it's really nice. So I did sort of all of the specialties that you could with Zumba. Great. Did aqua Zumba as well, so I could do it in the water. And I loved it. And I said to Steve, I think this is where I want to be. And then HR got really quite sticky and horrible. And obviously, like I say, it was a very high pressure job. And I was like, I'm stressing so much, even with my stoma. This is not good. So I said, right, I'm going to say thank you very much, hand in my notice. And I did. And I set up my own business. I did a legal course. I've got 2 registered trademarks as well. So I've got Dance Through the Ages and Wiggle When You Want, which is like my pre-record sessions. So nobody can take those away from me. And my legal team were absolutely incredible. The trainer that I was with, Lucy Legal, she's amazing. And she specializes in taking entrepreneurs and small businesses into getting them legally compliant. You've got all your privacy statements. So you're not on your own. And especially because as businesses, we're dealing with like high profile gyms, clients, etc. And there's so much risk around if you're dealing with one-to-one clients. It's a case of having those protocols and measures in place. So your contracts are watertight, your website's watertight, you've got your copyright, you know what you're doing. And I love that stuff anyway, because I'm an HM, so I've got all the legal stuff. And then I launched and haven't looked back. But sadly, recently, I had to go back to HR part-time because it doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't pay the bills, but that's okay. I'm saving lives at the same time, and I'm changing lives, which is the most magical thing ever. And I'm very privileged to be in the position I am.
It's really wonderful, and I can like feel your passion exude like even through the screen. But I wondered, from when you had done your training pre-surgery to then coming back.
Yeah.
And as you said, you did kind of all the specialisms, but did you notice, or did you have to adjust what you were doing, or any kind of take any safety precautions, or you just kind of straight back in, all the same?
Do you know what? That's another great question. So first and foremost, the relief that I could actually do a session and not have to worry about running out to the toilet was immense. It was like this weight had lifted off my shoulders, so I could actually enjoy it. Number one. Safety precautions, absolutely essential. If you are doing exercise, even if you're lifting your shopping, please, please, please wear your support garments. We get 2 a year. We get them free with your through your GP, and it's absolutely essential for hernia prevention and just to make sure that you are maintaining that stoma, especially with Zumba, because it's high energy, high impact. It's a full body workout. You don't realize how many calories you're burning or the total impact on your body. But you are, and you can easily twist the wrong way or, just having fun. And it's exercise in disguise. It's like having a party, but be safe with it. So please wear your support garments. Number 2, if you already have a peristomal hernia, I have a compression belt. So it's a big belt, but it's got a bobble on it. It's got a compression bobble, and you put it just at the side of your stoma site to create that extra pressure. So it pushes you back in. So if you already have a stoma, a peristomal hernia forming, it won't get any worse, but you're actually protecting yourself, and it keeps your core really nice and strong. The other thing is I'm not allowed to twist. So I never, ever twist across my body. I turn my body. So I'm like a pregnant lady. You turn. I look like I'm twisting. Tricks of the trade, especially as an instructor, but you turn your whole body. I'm not allowed to teach combat. And I love it because it's too much twisting and too much punching. I can kick, but I can't twist. So yeah, number 1, please, 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 always wear your support garments just in day-to-day activities, especially with shopping. Especially, this is the other thing that people really don't realize. When you're flying, think about taking your suitcase off the conveyor belt. You are yanking how many kilos across your body? And if you don't do it towards your stoma, you are going to create a hernia because you can't do it away. So please, 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 please get someone to get your suitcase off, or wear your support garments, pick, lift, don't drag it.
Where did you hear about these techniques? Is this through trial and error, or were there particular resources that you found really helpful?
That's, again, really, really good. I read all the literature that we get discharged with. My surgeon was amazing. He gave me the suitcase tip, and I'm a member of the Colostomy UK Facebook group. And in there, you can ask anything at all, like from eating. Oh my God, I've eaten this. This has happened. Da, da, da. But that is where I found all my tips and hints. And people like Big Stoma Me, the Instagram accounts, follow them. And, if you want to know more and you don't have a stoma or you're supporting somebody with a stoma, people do bag changes online. I mean, that's not personally for me. I'm not quite there yet. But, people do. And it's really educational and good on them. They've got the confidence to do that and share it with the world. My thing is, if you don't like it, you don't have to follow them. So there's a bit of, people like, oh, that's gross. Well, then don't follow them and it won't pop up on your feed. But Colostomy UK is amazing. The support group in there, like I say, no question is a daft question with a stoma. And the thing I've learned about flying from experience, because I have a drainable bag. So it's because it's easier for me and I don't have to do a bag change every time. The drainable ones are really good because literally they drain, funnily enough. And so, you don't have to worry about it. And so landing, obviously you're so high in the air, pressure, and it's only on long haul flights that I found this. But if you think about a water bottle and it's got a bit of water in it because you've drunk some of it, what happens to it on landing? It crumples, doesn't it? Your stoma does the same thing. You feel like you're about to die because it's retracting into you with the pressure. So what I found, because my husband's also an engineer, so he was like, is there any way you can fill it with air? And I was like, well, yeah, I can undo it and blow into it. So he's like, well, why don't you do that next time we land? Because that might help. And it does. Because there's already pressure, there's air in it. So as it retracts, your stoma's not sucking into you. And you don't feel like dying. And it's quite painful. So yeah, tips and hints.
That is a really good tip. And I would also sort of ask in the sense of, you're talking about, have you ever had or been in a situation or a sticky situation, even now you've had your stoma surgery, where something bad has happened and you've had an explosion, and how you have managed to deal with all of that?
I was teaching last night. So literally all these major, don't ask, I've just been to Orlando on a Zumba instructor convention and it was absolutely insane. So it's an annual event. Everybody goes every year. If you can afford it, it's amazing. Zumba instructors come together. We get the opportunity to dance with presenters, people from all the way around the world. And I have met friends for life. But there is, on one day, for example, I had 8 hours dancing. So I had to plan in my head outfit changes, bags, and made sure that I had enough supplies just in case anything happened, which inevitably it does. Now in America, toilets, they're not like ours. They don't have the privacy in the cubicles. So there's a gap like that, even in the disabled ones. And the doors are slatted. Not great when you've got a bag change. And I was like, okay, so that's a challenge. So anyway, I just went in there and did it. And the cleaners were amazing. They were like, is everything okay in there? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine. Thanks very much. Not really, but okay. And yeah, so that was a challenge, but I did it. It was absolutely fine. But yes, in terms of explosions, when you're dancing and you're a participant, not too much of an issue. Because you can go out, you can just exit, leave. When you're instructing, everyone's looking at you. You can't really stop the class and go and have a bag change. So dancing away, I was like, oh no, I can smell it. Okay. And I thought, right, how bad is it? So when I went to just, because I do schedule breaks in, and I pretended I was going to drink some water, and I've always got some wipes. They're the toilet wipes that you have. Not flushable, because I don't agree with that. So, but they're the water wipes. And I was like, right, if I can just put one of those down there. And of course I was wearing a crop. It was like a little top. So it wasn't a long one, because that was at the bottom of the suitcase and I didn't have time to get it. And I was like, oh God. So shoved a little wet wipe down. I was like, that'll do. No one can see it. And I was like, yeah, carry on. Thinking, good God, I hope we get to the end of this 45 minutes. And I did, and it was fine. And then, of course, people come up to you and go, hi, how are you? Need a chat? And I'm like, great, just don't breathe. Don't breathe, it's fine. And as long as you're happy and you really don't need to go and change it, and you can just manage it, and you're like, yeah, fine, thanks very much. I've got another class to teach, need to go. Great to see you. Bing! And that's how I did it. And I texted my friend and I was like, oh, the floor has exploded halfway through. If I smell, I'm really sorry. She was like, oh my God, are you okay? I was like, yes. But yeah, and the thing is, there's some of my students know. So in my classes, there's a couple of my front rowers that know. And then, because my face doesn't lie, that's the other thing. And I'm like, oh. So if you know me, you're like, Boris. So yeah, but I've been fortunate enough that I've been able to carry on. It's not been that bad. I have had it when it's proper exploded and my clothes are, but I tend to wear dark colours. So you're just like, okay, I just need to go and change, and nobody can see it. So my tip is, don't wear white. If you're instructing, don't wear white or yellow. It's not good look.
They're really good tips. And a question that we kind of always ask, because I think it's really useful. And I think you've been able to provide like a plethora of like really valuable information. But like, what would be the one or two things that you would say to somebody facing surgery or like in a similar position to yourself to kind of help them on their journey?
First of all, it's one of the biggest decisions you're ever going to make in your life. You are doing the right thing. Your body obviously needs it. You've got to a stage where, whether it's an illness or like me, you've chosen to have one. You're doing the right thing for your body. You are going to have a different way of living, but it's only like a different way of going to the bathroom. So other people sit down. We don't have to sit down anymore on dirty toilets. Bonus! Great. So that's one bonus for me. I don't ever have to sit on a toilet seat again, because I also self-catheterize. So I stand up like a man. Like, yeah, great. Don't have to touch dirty toilets. Tick. I hate sitting on public toilets. It's quite an empowering thing, because don't be defined by your bag. You can do anything you want to do. You want to go skydiving. There's nothing stopping you. You want to go and ski and leap off a mountain. Go do it. Your stoma is going to give you a new lease of life, because you're having it because you've either had cancer or whatever it is, your illness. It's going to save you. It's going to help you. And it's a mindset thing. Make friends with it. I find the most helpful thing was to name mine, because it's like a dissociation, but an association. So I can be having a great day. Mine's called Boris, obviously, full of shit and hot air. But yes, like I say, Boris can have a really rubbish day and just be leaking all over the place, or just be like quite chatting. For God's sake, blame it on the person in front. But I can be having a great day, and that's fine. Other times, if I'm having a great day and he's having a great day, but it's part of me and it's mine, and it's just a case of managing that relationship. But if he's having a bad day, just do that, just slight disassociation, and try and have a bit of humor about it, because it's okay. The charcoal filters, I will also say, are incredible. Get them. They are already in your stoma bag, and there are deodorant sachets as well that you could put in. You can get them from Coloplast, do them, Fittleworth do them. They're like, or if you haven't got any of those, baby oil. It absorbs the smell. So if you've gone, but you've got this little sachet inside, you just basically empty it. It absorbs a lot of the aroma. So that for me as well is another confidence thing. But you can do anything. Just because you've got a stoma, you're actually going to start to live. It's the start of your journey. It's the start of a new life. That's what I'd say. And don't be afraid to reach out. There's so many of us out there. You would be amazed how many people have them, but just don't. Well, we don't need to say it because it's just, but the support groups, join Colostomy UK, ask, follow people with a stoma. Ask me, you're more than welcome. I'm Francesca Aproskie on Facebook. I'm Dance Through the Ages on Instagram. Any questions you've got, or you just want to know, or you're a bit unsure and you don't have a stoma, but you want to know more, reach out to the people that have one and are visible on social media, because we want to educate you. We want to help you understand. And the more we can spread that awareness and the more we can get other people talking about it, the more normalized it is. And we won't be experiencing things like Big Stoma and me have experienced, or the things that I've experienced. It just becomes a way of life. And the nice thing is, I was wearing my bikini on holiday with Boris out, nobody batted an eyelid. It was great. It's like, yes. And the black bags, ladies, just for the ladies out there and for the men, but they make you feel just a little bit more sexy than the clear ones do, because they're black. So yeah, colour of bag actually makes a massive psychological difference, I think. So there you
Totally. I mean, shameless plug for Ostique Connect to help people connect with one another and support each other. But also,
your app is amazing. The Ostique app. Just go do it. If you've got stoma, get registered, get on it. Boom.
Just like you said, to speak to other people who have walked a mile in your shoes and get it.
Yeah.
It's super helpful. And the same with the skins, because we totally agree that sometimes that actually, if you don't even get on with the black bags, you like your bag, there are, get a skin or any cover that can make you feel more empowered, because like what you said, you should be empowered. It's, life-saving.
Yes. And you have a life to live. Grab it by the balls. Don't give a shit and go live it. That's my advice.
Fantastic. I absolutely love it. Francesca, you are a breath of fresh air. You are so wonderfully positive. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And as you said, people can find you on Instagram, join your classes. Where are you based?
So I'm based in Wakefield in the north of the country, so Yorkshire. I have been working with Colostomy UK, which is amazing. We've done online classes. We haven't got a session booked at the moment, but there might be sessions. So they do 8 weeks and they're free. So they're online, and there might be one just before Christmas. So we've just finished a set. So go look at Colostomy UK. The sessions are completely free if you've got a stoma. It's me delivering them. I've got a stoma, so I know exactly how to teach you. Please just come along and have a bit of a wiggle and a giggle, as I say.
A wiggle and a giggle. I love that.
If Ostique wants to get on board and put on some classes, more than happy to do that too. Shameless.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. I'd love that. We will definitely follow. I'd literally love a wiggle and a giggle.
Yes.
Thank you ever so much. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. All my fellow Ostomates out there, go live your life, be happy, and chat shit when you can.
See you soon.
Take care. See you later.
Have you seen the new Ostique skins yet? Ostique skins are revolutionary ostomy pouch covers that were created to make the wearer feel confident, sexy and powerful in all of life's moments. From moments of intimacy to lounging by the pool, conquering a workout or simply heading out to lunch, skins have you covered. Even better, they're compatible with all major colostomy and ileostomy bags. Ostique skins are available in a range of colours and skin tones, and they're made from a revolutionary material that's completely waterproof, high quality, soft and comfortable. Skins are easy to use, even with reduced dexterity, and they work with both closed and drainable bags. Plus, skins are also environmentally friendly and vegan. There are 4 bundles available to buy now, and you can also purchase individual skins. Head to ostique.co.uk to find out more.